We must demand the immediate negotiation of a peaceful end to the war in Ukraine, or we will end up in World War III, and there will be nothing left of our planet, all because stupid people didn't have a clue. They don't understand what they're dealing with, the power of nuclear. They have no idea what they're doing.
He's right, and it's something this show has warned about since February, when the Ukraine conflict all began. But for Biden and his team of naive war cabinet folks, they are just waking up to the reality that what over $50 billion in weaponry and aid could actually produce in Ukraine. Can we even track where our money is going? Well, it wasn't until a closed-door fundraiser the other night that Biden seemed to realize that he has brought America to the cliff's edge. What if we have not faced the prospect of Armageddon since Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis, he said. Well, that admission set off alarm bells around the globe, which meant the Biden cleanup crew got right to work.
The president, I think, was accurately reflecting the fact that the stakes are very high right now. His comments were not based on new or fresh intelligence or new indications that Mr. Putin has made a decision to use nuclear weapons. And quite frankly, we don't have any indication that he has made that kind of decision.
Joining me now is Ned Ryan, CEO of American Majority, as well as Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, Defense Priorities Senior Fellow. Ned, I don't think I believe Kirby. I just think they don't want to admit how badly they've messed this whole thing up.
Well, they really have, and they continue down this path. I mean, the amazing part is Trump's been right about almost everything in this situation. And, you know, I look back at his remarks on Germany's idiotic energy policy, which was funding and empowering Putin, really European infantile energy policy writ large, which was giving up until recently about €1 billion a day to Putin, was really financing this invasion. Trump was right about Putin pouncing on Biden's weakness post-Afghanistan. And he's right in this situation. We find ourselves, every week that this continues, we find ourselves escalating and moving towards nuclear war. And the Biden administration doesn't seem to know how to get out of this except for to continue forward. The amazing part to me in all of this, Laura, is the people that were saying that somehow Trump, with his reckless behavior, was somehow going to start World War III are the ones actually agitating for Biden to start World War III. And at some point, you would hope that diplomats and statesmen would say, you know what, Ukraine has nothing to do with U.S. interests. It has everything to do with Russia's interests, always has, always will. Ukraine and Russia actually need to sit down and figure out what borders work for both of them before we continue accelerating down this path. Because if we don't find an off-ramp, we are headed towards something that will not be good for anyone involved in Europe, in the U.S., anywhere in the world.
And Colonel Davis, during a phone call today with Zelensky, Biden promised that the U.S. would continue providing Ukraine with the support needed to defend itself, including advanced air defense systems. Now, Lieutenant Colonel, you said that Biden needs to change course, but it seems that he's not doing it anytime soon. That's escalating it. Is he not?
That's exactly what I've been warning about, and I couldn't have been more happy to hear President Trump making those comments there that he just did. And, you know, and all the time he was in the White House, he took a lot of heat for engaging with Putin. They called him a Putin apologist, and he was kowtowing and all that. But he kept us out of any war, and he kept relations stable. But now then you see, since he's left office, now then things have been ramped up, and they've been continually going up all the way till the war started. And this is the wrong answer, to say that we're just going to continue to go, not make any changes at all, because President Biden was right last week when he said that we're heading towards nuclear potential catastrophe, but we have to do something to change course. If you just maintain the status quo, we're going to end up someplace that's bad for America.
Ned, one of our favorite puppets of the left, retired Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman, he's gleeful over the whole situation. Watch.
Russia really is a one-trick pony. It cannot do anything on the battlefield. It's getting defeated at every turn. We just need to saturate the environment there, and this could easily reduce the pressure that Russia is putting on Ukraine and make this a much, much more bearable campaign.
Ned, how does this rhetoric get us farther from nuclear war?
It doesn't. And Laura, we just had the shame of this entire situation is we've somehow allowed it to be portrayed Russia bad, Ukraine good. Both are deeply corrupt nations. Both are involved in something that's been going on for centuries. And we continue to escalate it and fund it with tens of billions of taxpayer dollars. You know, I think, Laura, in this entire situation, one of the things that has been deeply aggravating to me is watching Republican senators sell us out on this, like Lindsey Graham. Apparently, there's not a war that he doesn't like as he continues to agitate for this. And I would remind the senator, we're not in the 1980s anymore. Putin might be a thug, but the evil empire doesn't exist. At some point, it would be nice if Republican senators would actually stand up and say, you know, we should probably hit the brakes on this and choose a diplomatic path and call an end to this so that we don't end up in a bad place.
Yeah, well, I guess, Lieutenant Colonel Davis, I think the question has to be asked of the American people, okay? And maybe it's hard to do that in the middle of the midterms. Are you willing to support a U.S. war with Russia to save Ukraine, yes or no? Because if that is the question, is it not?
I like that.
You know, it's got to be answered.
Yeah, I like that framing. Because when you see the polls that have been asked, then the American people answer that question exactly the way you think they're going to. And, you know, and I like the way Ned kind of framed this a second ago, is that this is an issue between Russia and Ukraine, and they both have an interest on their border that needs to be resolved. America has no national security interest at stake, and the fact that we continue to potentially be a part of all this escalation is just going to end up in a bad place for us, and we need to focus on American national interests before someone else's.
Well, where's Germany? Right. Germany seems to want to de-escalate things now, right, Ned? Very quickly. I mean, Germany is the biggest economy in the EU. If Germany doesn't think this is a big enough problem right now, at this moment, then we've got to start asking ourselves some hard questions. And I want the people of Ukraine to be safe. I think it's horrific what's happened to them, you know, but come on.
I think Germany is looking for a way to survive the winter because they've made so many terrible energy decisions. They would really love to figure out how to continue getting cheap Russian energy. I think they're just looking for basically very self-interested, how do we survive the winter? So it's kind of surprising me Germany hasn't taken a stronger role in saying we need this to end, if nothing else, for its own survival.
I think we're going to start seeing that conversation. That's my prediction.
I think so.
Ned, Lieutenant Colonel, thank you.